This is Combat365.tv. Like and subscribe for more hard-hitting combat sports content. We all know that the basis of success in MMA is being a good fighter. You've got to be able to punch and kick and punch some more. But some fighters often forget the most important ingredient to fame and glory: talking. To celebrate Brock Lesnar's incredible return, Combat365.tv takes a look back at the 5 craziest UFC rants ever. Number 5, Nick Diaz, UFC 143. Diaz is the name, calling out mother is the game. Nick Diaz's post-fight promo at UFC 143 saw him call out UFC welterweight champion Georges St. Pierre with that infamous line, "Where you at, George?" Diaz was supposed to fight GSP before being pulled for not showing up to media obligations. So losing the biggest payday of his career, Nick took out his frustrations on poor BJ Penn before putting his old pal George in the firing line, politely calling him, you guessed it, a mother. Number 4, Brock Lesnar, UFC 100. In a time before the Diaz brothers and Conor McGregor stole our hearts with their vitriolic discourse, no one questioned Brock Lesnar as the undisputed king of talk. At UFC 100, after avenging his first career defeat against Frank Mir, Lesnar went rogue. He joked about pulling a horseshoe out of Mir's before telling fans he'd be climbing on top of his wife, former WWE sex symbol Sable, to conclude his night of celebration. A top star in the WWE from 2002 to 2004, there's no denying that Brock's stint at the top of sports entertainment gave him the skills to draw in the crowd wherever he was. And he clearly used that to his advantage as he became arguably the most hated man in UFC history. Number 3, Chael Sonnen, UFC on Fox 2. If there's one fighter who could hang with anyone on the mic, it's Chael P. Sonnen. The American gangster was a badass in the cage, pre-testosterone ban of course, and he backed it up with some of the best promos in UFC history. At UFC on Fox 2, Sonnen put his arch nemesis Anderson Silva on blast, campaigning for their highly anticipated rematch. "Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck," Sonnen opened, before erupting the crowd with the ultimate challenge, wagering that if Silva could beat him once more, he would leave the sport of MMA forever. Silva handily beat him in the rematch at UFC 149, with Sonnen going back on his word. Alas, his smack talk was never taken seriously again. Number 2, Conor McGregor, UFC 205. You don't even need to be an MMA fan to know that Conor McGregor is one of the most unapologetic and overbearing characters in the sport. I mean, he's thrown a dolly truck at a bus full of fighters, thrown Monster Energy cans at crowded public areas. Wherever McGregor goes, controversy follows. So when his crowning achievement finally came around at UFC 205, becoming the first man to hold 2 world titles at the same time, you'd think maybe the Mac would take the chance to apologize for his behavior. Nope. He apologized for absolutely nothing. Number 1, Nate Diaz, UFC on Fox 17. With Conor McGregor hysteria dominating every facet of the UFC, Nate Diaz erupted. After beating Michael Johnson in December 2015, the Stockton bad boy put the Notorious on blast in one of the most profanity-ridden rants of all time, giving birth to his now famous line, "You've taken everything that I've worked for, mother." Hands up if you walked around saying that line for a while after. Nate has always been anti-establishment, and the levels of zero given has seen him spend large amounts of his career on the sidelines, unwilling to play the puppet for promoter Dana White. But what do you think? Have we missed any crazy rants that you think should make the list? Let us know in the comment section below. Whilst his rant at UFC 100 made the list, his latest exploits have got the world of MMA going crazy once again. Click the video on the left to see why Brock Lesnar's return to the UFC is going to be awesome. And don't forget to subscribe to Combat365.tv for more hard-hitting combat sports content.